So, we have another one of those stories involving some palm-colored institution having a problem with melanated hair. Now, you'll see why I'm using this image in particular because, one, they didn't reveal the student's identity for what I'm about to talk about, but you'll see what I mean in a minute. So basically what happened is you had this school called in California called the Mater Dei or the Mater Dei or the Mater D, it's spelled DEI school, and it's basically one of those private schools or institutions in which you have to pay money for it in order to go to, in which this student ended up being suspended for 3 days because he refused to cut his braids. He said, okay, well, I'd rather just sit home for 3 days instead of just having to cut my hair. And then he was allowed to come back. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and read the article and wait until you hear the reason why they decided to let him back into the school. A California student suspended over his refusal to cut his braids was allowed back to class Tuesday after his story went public. They just told you right there why he was let back in. Because the story went public and it went viral, and that's why they let him back. Imagine if the story did not get any traction, he would have still probably been suspended. The Mater Dei High School sophomore, who's of mixed race, which is why you see I use a picture of a more lighter tone person, just to get the optics out of the way, was given in-school suspension for arguing in insubordination. Now, they put that in quotations because that's what the school said, but I bet you they embellished that. After challenging an administrator's calls for him to cut his braided hair. Challenging. That sounds a lot different than arguing in insubordination. School officials claimed the style, which was above the collar but fell slightly below the teen's eyebrows, violated the school dress code. Notice how every time they suspend a boy from school of melanin, I'm gonna just say of melanin because even though they say he's of mixed race, there's still melanin there. Even every time they suspend a boy because of his hair, it's always one of two things: one, because of braids, or two, because of a design he may have cut into his low cut hair. My son has the right not to cut his hair, his mother Melissa Harton told the newspaper. He has beautiful hair. Harton said her son wound up missing 3 days of classes at the San Diego area Catholic school, where yearly tuition is upwards of $17,000. It wasn't until the incident was publicized on social media that the leaders agreed to let the teen return to class. Like I said, if this story did not gain any traction, he would have probably still been suspended, which lets me know they did not let him back in on their generosity alone or because they felt bad. It's because the school was about to feel that burn from the public and probably from other parents who kids go there. Remember, this is a school they have to pay for. Imagine if they started pulling their kids out in protest, the school would lose money, which wouldn't be such a bad idea. The suspension will also be wiped from his record, the Union Tribune reported. Harton says she still can't understand why her son was quote-unquote singled out over his hair. It's pretty obvious. And I don't know if she, or I don't know if she's married or anything like that, or her husband are having that discussion with their son, but they need to go ahead and have that discussion right now. And y'all know what you know exactly what I'm talking about. He's had the same length of hair since starting school at Mater Dei or Mater D in 2018 and only faced punishment when he wore it in braids. Now, how about that? He had that same hairstyle for about 2 years. But the day that he decided to wear it in braids, that's when they suspended him. The school and others with that mindset exposed themselves. The reason why I say that is what they're telling you is that when black boys in particular wear their hair a certain way, whether it be in cornrows or locks, that it's deemed in their eyes as quote unquote thug culture. Whenever they see that, it triggers them. Yet they can wear their hair any type of way that they want. But the minute they see a black man wearing cornrows or wearing locks, it's an issue. Just like when I talked about how it was a little boy who wore his hair and he had a one long part that kind of went to the back of his head, and they actually pretty much kicked him out of the school because they said that his hair, that design in his hair, which was just a long part, it wasn't even a design, was reminiscent of him being in a gang. I'm like, the boy is 5. If y'all remember that story, I was like, the boy is 5. What gang is he in? The Bob the Builder gang? The Baby Shark gang? Like, what? But see, that's the excuse that they use to discriminate. They don't come outright and say what it is. They cover it up. It's with this. It's against the school policy, or it's against the dress code. Notice that every time a black child, whether male or female, is kicked out of school because of their hair, they always go back to that dress code BS. When's the last time you've seen a palm colored kid, male or female, get kicked out of school because of their hair? And they have been known to wear some wild designs. Trust me on this. When I was in high school, I used to see it all. Was it too ethnic? Was it too cultural for them? Harton said of her son's hair, adding that she'd seen photos of other male students with hair just as long. It is discrimination. They discriminated against my son and they harassed my son. Now, when she says other male students, she probably wanted to say other white male students, but she kept it PC. But I can read between the lines. She said the teen has also been disciplined for minor infractions like not wearing a tie with his cardigan on mass days or wearing the wrong colored socks. So basically what happened was they were working their way up. They were starting on little things like what she just mentioned, and then they worked their way up to the hair, like literally from the foot to the chest all the way up to the head. So like I said, they were working their ways from the bottom to the top. Socks, tie, hair. And the hair is the one that they got him with. The Matter D incident is just the latest in a string of cases involving black students punished over the years over their hair and hairstyles. The most prominent came in 2018 when a New Jersey high school wrestler was forced to cut his locks moments before a high-stakes match, and y'all know exactly what I'm talking about with that one. That one was real controversial. Or forfeit. Video of a trainer taking a pair of shears to the young man's head sparked national outrage. Last year, an 8-year-old Michigan girl was barred from taking school photos after officials said her red braided hair extensions were not in compliance with the school dress code for picture day. I never got a chance to actually do a video about that, but her story went viral that they ended up, some outside photographer from the school ended up taking pictures for her school picture, and she ended up wearing that red braid into her hair, and those pictures ended up going viral. It's almost like they gave her her own little personal photo shoot because of that. California sought to tackle the issue of hair discrimination with the passage of the Crown Act, which prohibits the enforcement of grooming policy that unfairly target African Americans and other people of color. New York was the first to pass such a measure, and New Jersey most recently followed suit. The California law, which took effect January 1st, doesn't apply to private schools like Mater Dei, however. How convenient. It's almost like they probably looked through the cracks of that policy just to make sure it didn't apply to charter schools or private schools. And when they saw that it didn't, they went in for the kill. It says the Atlanta Black Star contacted the school for comment and is awaiting response. They'll probably be waiting forever. But yeah, this is just another thing that black people, or, that we go through in this establishment with the hair thing. Now, one thing I wanted to mention is that notice that many of the people who get treated unjustly, especially by these pigs, look at the hairstyles for those men or for those boys. Most of them have a low cut. Tamir Rice, Mike Brown, and a gang of others, Eric Garner, and so many others. The only one that I can remember that had hair was Philando Castile. He had locks. And I think he was the only one that had a non-low cut hairstyle. But everyone else had a low cut. So it's not about the hair. Because if it was, they would only go after and target people with hair. But most of the people they go after have low cuts. So what are you trying to tell us? Exactly. See, like I said, they can't pull the wool over our eyes. All I'm saying is when they see hairstyles like what you see on your screen, they attribute it to quote unquote thug culture. But only when we wear it. Now, let one of them wear it, then it's not an issue. And trust me, I've seen pictures and images of palm-colored males and females with braids, or them trying to attempt to wear locks. And when they try to attempt to wear locks, that shit looks horrible. I'm just being honest. But nothing is ever said to them. What does that tell you? See, it's not all in my head. It's from what I've observed. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure to follow me on Twitter if you haven't done so already. Have your notifications turned on, and I will talk to you in the next one.